Hi, everybody. This is Tiffany Losasso. I am the new head of GEG Colorado, here and ready to go. And today we have an awesome event for you all about Screencastify with Miss Neff. And it's going to be great. We're going to learn lots and lots. In the background, we've got a whole bunch of moderators who are here to help us out and support any questions, and we'll bug Neff as we need. And yeah, so thank you guys for joining us, and make sure if you haven't already, find us on Twitter, find us on Facebook. We've got an awesome Facebook group and a Twitter. So there's our Twitter handle down at the bottom at GEG Colorado. And then if you go to our Facebook, go to Facebook and just search for GEG Colorado, you can find us and join all the convos that we've got going on. I think that's probably it for us. One last thing, sorry, Neff, is we also are offering an hour of PD credit hour. Like, we've got a certificate for you. So at the very end, we'll give you the info on how to get that, if that is something that you need to get your hours and everything like that. So without further ado, Miss Neff, hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you for the introduction, Tiffany. I am so excited to be joining y'all. Thank you for the invitation. I serve on the educator growth team at Screencastify, and I'm incredibly excited to talk about all of the products that we offer and our suite of video creation tools for the classroom. And of course, I would love a follow, so please find me on Twitter at NiftyNeff, follow Screencastify at Screencastify, and I will definitely give you some other ways in which you can stay in touch as we continue to talk about each of our products. So before we get started, I am a huge fan of agendas, so that we know exactly what we're going to be doing during our hour together. So initially, I just want to go through all of the products that Screencastify offers. We actually offer 3 different products, and the good news is that we offer a free version of all 3 of our products. So completely free, no barriers to entry there, which is pretty awesome, understanding that you guys have a ton on your plates and a lot of different things that you might be looking at during this time. And next, what we're going to do is we're going to go through how to create videos using Record and Edit, and then how to create assignments using our classroom creation tool Submit, which is our newest product that I am so incredibly excited about. It is powerful during traditional schooling, but it is out of this world when we talk about navigating this remote learning environment. And finally, we're going to talk about how educators are using the suite to inspire students in all types of settings. So whether you're talking to students in person, whether you're in a hybrid setting, or whether you're remote learning, there are so many incredible ways that you can use each of these tools to be able to talk to your kids, to talk to their parents, and obviously to engage with your colleagues like we're doing today on a Saturday. So the Screencastify Suite, as I said, is 3 different products, and there are some handy dandy links there. And if you have not logged onto the slides presentation, underneath me, you'll see that URL, bit.ly/GEG Screencastify, so that you can click on these hyperlinks if you'd like. But our first product is the one that you might know and love, Screencastify Record, which is that Chrome extension that allows you to create instructional videos. Download that from the Chrome Web Store, and you are smoking, ready to go to record anything that you need. We also have Screencastify Submit, that is a classroom creation tool, and you can get started by smashing that link. And then Screencastify Edit, which is a browser-based editor. So if you guys have been creating instructional videos and kind of wondering, how do I get out that sneeze, or my dog barking, or get rid of something on screen, or even zoom in to try to make sure that students actually maintain their attention, Screencastify Edit is where you need to be. So I do want to get an idea of where you guys are at so that I can tailor this experience to your experience with Screencastify thus far. There is a quick 6-question survey there that is on that slide, and I would love to see the answers there. So if you smash that link, take the survey, you will be letting us know exactly where you're at. So I'm going to give about 30 seconds to allow everybody to access that survey and to quickly put in their thoughts and ideas, and then we'll use that to make sure that our time together is as impactful as humanly possible. All right, some responses rolling in here. Um, it looks like most of us are somewhat comfortable using Screencastify Record, not quite as comfortable using Screencastify Edit, and probably the least comfortable using Screencastify Submit, which certainly makes sense. So what we'll do is we'll do kind of a broad survey of each of those things and obviously talk about how you can implement them in the classroom. There obviously is no reason that we should talk about how to use a tool without talking about why to use a tool. But we'll make sure that we have lots of links and resources for folks who might need a little bit of extra help. And as I said, there definitely will be a way to get in touch with me and make sure that all of the questions are answered. And of course, feel free to put a question in the comment box at any time whatsoever so that you get what you need out of this presentation. So before we get started, I kind of always like to think about why are we even talking about asynchronous solutions, right? Like if you guys are engaging in things like Google Meet or Zoom, or if you have the fortune of being able to see your kiddos in person, why would we still preference asynchronous solutions? And there are a couple of things that are pretty important to me. The first is this idea of inclusivity, right? So I know as a former teacher myself that often when we are asked to get in front of the classroom and teach 30 kids, we have an impossible thing to do. Either we are going to perhaps go too quickly, we are going to go too slow. And often what we do is we end up teaching to the middle where there are students on either side who are not able to actually grasp that concept in the way that we would like them to. But when we're able to create these asynchronous solutions and create videos that essentially can be watched on demand, it creates a more personalized experience for tons of people. And it's enduring, right? Like imagine how many times we have said something to a student and then they said, hey, Miss Dukes, what did you say again? And it certainly is not the fault of the student. It's just that often the spoken word is not exactly what they need in that particular time. So being able to have something that is always there for them to be able to go back to at any point is going to be incredibly important. And Chris, to your point, absolutely empowering for students for them to be able to take control of their learning. And also be able to rewatch it, right? Like if they're sitting at home and perhaps they don't have the benefit of a parent being able to help them through, they still have you being able to help them there, even if you're not there in a live in-person setting. And obviously adding a little bit more accessibility, whether that's a student who maybe needs to slow down the video to 0.5 speed, or a student who needs to speed it up or add captions, or any of those things become possible when we talk about doing things asynchronously. So I like to think about it from the perspective of what can we include? So what types of topics and concepts can we include in an asynchronous environment that would not be possible synchronously, but also who can we include when we make education on demand? So I'll get off my soapbox for a second, but did just want to kind of talk through why we kind of are in business and really, really deeply believe that there is a role for asynchronous instruction in tandem with in-person instruction, but also in tandem with some of the synchronous solutions that teachers have turned to as we're a part of this remote learning environment. So let's talk about Screencastify Record, which is like kind of the OG of asynchronous instruction. Like if you are creating instructional videos, this is like one of the easiest ways to be able to do it. So Screencastify Record is our Chrome extension. So if you are using Google Chrome, which I would assume the vast majority of you guys are, you can go ahead and install the Screencastify extension. And if you aren't using Google Chrome, come on over to Google Chrome. It definitely is an amazing browser. So there are some instructions there as to how you can go about installing Screencastify if you guys have not already. It is as simple as selecting Add to Chrome and then clicking that Screencastify icon to sign in, which is like honestly one of my favorite things about Screencastify. You never have to create some sort of separate account with us or anything like that. It is as simple as logging in with your Google account. So you might be wondering, where can I use Screencastify Record? So I've installed it, Neff. Thanks for that. Now where am I supposed to use it? And the answer is everywhere that you can run a desktop version of Google Chrome. So that's on a Chromebook, that's on a Mac, that's on a PC, that's on basically any type of device that has a keyboard is going to be able to run a desktop version of Google Chrome. What it is not, however, is not the idea to be able to run it on a mobile phone or iPad. But we do have ways for you to be able to engage on a mobile phone or iPad that we will talk about in just a second. So yeah, this is awesome. Becomes the way that you can record videos on your screen to do things like feedback, instructional videos, which we are going to talk about in just one second. So when you create videos with the extension, you have a couple of different ways that you can do it. One of which is recording just a browser tab. So if you wanted to record over a Google Slides presentation, which sounds so simple, but can be so incredibly powerful, you can record your browser tab. If you want to do what Chris is suggesting and be able to look at a student's paper that they have created on a tab and be able to narrate over that and give them feedback verbally, you can record a browser tab. But you also can do things like record your entire desktop. I would bet that if you are here, you are probably one of the tech aficionados at your school. So you might have a bunch of teachers coming to you asking how they can use things. Record your desktop and create tech tutorials to show them everything that they need. And then you also can record just your webcam. During this time, there are so many things that are missing from the traditional school experience, whether that's the lack of your students being able to see you emote because you're wearing a mask, or the lack of personal instruction because some of your students are still engaging remotely. Creating a webcam only recording to say something like happy birthday, or I'm so excited that you're in my class can be incredibly powerful. And all of that is available within Screencastify. We also have some things that are crazy, crazy cool. Primarily, we have the ability to be able to enable your microphone, embed a webcam, and then also show some drawing tools. So if you wanted to create a quick drawing to highlight something on screen, or even record tab audio so that kids can hear a YouTube video or something, all of that is possible within our annotation tools, which you just do by clicking Show Drawing Tools under Show More Options. And then when you have created an awesome video, it's time to edit that video and share it with folks, right? It is one thing to have an amazing video. It is another to actually get that in front of the people who matter, meaning your students, their parents, and everybody else that you would want to create videos for. So we actually have a lot of ways in which folks can edit and share. So initially within our editor, which remember you can use for free, there are a couple of things that you can do, including add text to your recordings, trim things out of recordings, crop videos, and even merge multiple videos together. And what is pretty awesome is that merging videos together can happen even for videos that are not recorded within Screencastify. So if you are somebody who has recorded one video on your iPhone and then another that you have recorded somewhere else, plus a Screencastify recording, within Screencastify Edit, you can merge all of those things together in order to create an awesome recording that is absolutely amazing. And the creme de la creme, which is one of my favorite new features, is the ability to actually zoom in on screen. So check out edit.screencastify and take a look at zooming in on screen. As far as sharing goes, I think this is where the magic of Screencastify actually comes in. On the video page, there are a ton of different features that you can actually use. So one of which is sharing a Google Drive link. So for those of you who have used Screencastify before, you might know that all of the videos are saved to your Google Drive. So pressing that copy shareable link button actually creates a link that is automatically copied to your clipboard that you can paste absolutely anywhere. But you can also share them to Google Classroom, send those videos in an email for a personalized experience, or for those of you who might be in a traditional classroom, generate QR codes that students can scan and immediately watch a video. One of the cool things about Screencastify is that even though you can't record videos with the extension with a mobile phone or iPad, since the videos are either stored on Google Drive or YouTube, they can be watched from anywhere. So if you have kiddos who are accessing on a mobile phone or anything, that becomes totally possible. And we also have the App Smash library, which is something that we debuted a couple of months ago. So you actually can share right from Screencastify into Edpuzzle, into Wakelet, and into Remind. So if you want to create video assessments where you're assessing whether or not a student actually got everything that they needed out of that instructional video, Edpuzzle is the jam. And I absolutely love Wakelet, which is a completely free tool to be able to create collections and give a students a repository of everything that they need for a particular lesson. Super, super dead easy. And Remind. Oh my God, Remind has been amazing during this period because so many students and parents are accessing things on non-traditional devices. So being able to send out a text message on Remind that has a video is game changing. Imagine all of those parents who are telling you that they can't access Google Classroom, that they don't understand the new lesson. It's cool. Send them all a video on Remind, and it is crazy, crazy easy to do. So yeah, we have introduced the App Smash library. And the other amazing thing about the App Smash library is that when you go enable those integrations, there actually is a survey of what integrations you want to see in the future. So we actually are on the hunt for new integrations. If there's something that you'd like to see, please let us know in that survey. We literally cannot wait to add more things that make your life easier. So we talked a lot about the mechanics of Screencastify. What does it look like to actually, the bells and whistles of recording a video, adding annotation tools, sharing them to the places that matter. But like, how do you use Screencastify in your classroom? And I know that there have already been some ideas that have come out from the comments. And if you have an amazing way that you've been using Screencastify, I'd love for you to drop it in. But some of the things that have come out again and again from inspiring educators has been a couple of things. First, creating instructional videos. Whether those instructional videos are something as simple as explaining directions, like, hey, this is what we are doing today, so that kids can be able to play that over and over again if they need, so that they can always access their content. Or if it's explaining a rubric, here is what the assignment is, here is what success looks like. Teaching a new concepts to kiddos, or providing remediation. So we know that mastery is not a straight line from A to B. It's often a little bit crooked and crazy, and kids can go in circles and go back. So being able to provide opportunities for kiddos to be able to see videos when they need a little bit of extra help is absolutely amazing. So yeah, Laura, I love student creative videos, and we're actually going to talk about that in a second. And math teachers using those drawing tools to show their work, amazing. Being able to show kids, this is how you solve a problem, and then even asking them to go through and narrate their own work, so that you know that they didn't just arrive at the right answer by simple osmosis, that they actually understood how to create that problem and arrive at that answer. The other thing that I think is awesome is being able to use Screencastify to have these asynchronous meetings with instructors and other colleagues. So whether that's sending tech tutorials as a desktop recording or hosting asynchronous meetings. So I know when I was working, I had a planning partner who was absolutely brilliant. One of the smartest persons that I have ever met, but we didn't share a common planning. So being able to send videos back and forth of what she was thinking, especially when I was a new teacher, and me being able to talk back and narrate the things that I didn't quite understand about some of the instructional practices, was what allowed me to grow as an educator. And even creating video newsletters. So if you're an instructional coach or someone who is meeting with other people in any capacity, being able to send out newsletters and different ideas to keep them on top of different things that are happening around the school can be absolutely amazing. And of course, chatting with parents. So if you have these new co-teachers who are helping their kids at home through remote learning or hybrid learning or any of those things, you probably are having more conversation with students or with parents, excuse me, than you have ever had in the past. So being able to send out assignment directions, or even keeping hope alive and sending out positive comments about how well their kids are doing, is amazing. And yeah, absolutely, Chris. Like being able to have students kind of like lead a help desk and say, hey, the reason I couldn't complete today's assignment was because this is what went wrong, is absolutely amazing. So it's not just about creating videos, it's also about receiving videos, which we're about to talk about as well. All right. This is where I get really excited to talk about our newest product, Screencastify Submit, which we initially conceptualized as a way for students to create their own videos, but in reality has been a way for you to request videos from anyone. So imagine being able to create a link to Chris's point, where anybody who has a tech issue at any point can simply record their screen, and that video is saved into your Google Drive for you to be able to act on it and understand if the problem is user error, a bug in the software, or something else entirely. So let's talk a little bit about what the heck Screencastify Submit even is, and how you can use this new tool. So Screencastify Submit works in a very easy sequence. You go to our site, and then you select a recording type. And Tiffany can tell you that it was easy. It literally is a 3-step process, which I think is pretty cool. We tried to boil it down to what is the easiest way to be able to do this. So the first step is to decide what you want people to record, whether that be a webcam only recording. And the cool thing, notice the icon, those webcam only recordings are actually compatible with mobile devices and iPads. So if you wanted students to be able to show you around their home to the extent that they were comfortable, or do something that was kind of mobile device centered, you would be able to do that with a webcam only recording within Submit. And then we also have traditional screen recordings as well that would record their screen and their microphone audio. One thing to note, for Screencastify Submit, the person who is submitting a video does not need to have our extension installed. They don't need to have an app installed. They don't need to have an account with us. They need diddly squat to be able to create a video. So you literally can send them to anyone. We actually did it for my dad's birthday. So I can attest that my 65-year-old grandma, who has never used Screencastify in her life, was able to submit a video in a few seconds and congratulate my dad. So this definitely is something that is going to be dead simple, and allow anyone to kind of be a part of that process. The next step in the process is to have people name their assignment. So the name of the assignment will be the title. And that assignment title is actually pretty important because we will create a folder in your Google Drive that has that folder name in it. So whenever somebody submits a video, you don't have to go around and say, hey, where did that video go? It's going directly to that Google Drive folder where you can take a look and view it. They also will have instructions, which can be simple or they could be long, right? Like, what do you want them to do? This also is the opportunity where I often talk to people and say, how is this video going to be used? Especially in a setting of like going back to my dad's birthday. It's like, hey, we're going to like mash all these videos together and give it to my dad as a compilation or whatever it is that you might be using the videos for. And then configuring settings, which is awesome. So you have 2 ideas for assignment access. So it's either anyone in your organization where you can write the allowed email domains. So in my case, I just put in screencastify.com as an example, but you could add as many email domains as you want. Basically, what this means is that anybody that tries to access that assignment that is not a part of that assigned email domain will be locked out. They won't be able to access that assignment whatsoever. So if you're scared that kids might send it to people who don't belong in your assignment or anything like that, you can lock it down to only people in your organization. But we also have the opportunity for you to broaden it out and have anyone with the link be able to see that assignment. So that's perfect for if you wanted parents to be able to be a part of an assignment or anything of that nature. That would allow anyone, regardless of what email they're on, to be able to access that assignment. We also have 3 options for video privacy. So the first one is that students cannot view any videos, which actually would include their own video as well. So we use this one if you wanted to create an assessment. So I spoke to a Spanish teacher who was using Screencastify to be able to create verbal assessments. And one of the things that she was worried about was she didn't necessarily want students to have access to that video to be able to share it with other students who hadn't taken the assessment yet. No problem. Create the video privacy so that students cannot view any videos. Then we have a second level of video privacy where students can view only their own videos. So if you're doing something for SEL and you want students to talk about how they're feeling and they should have access to their videos, but none of their classmates can, no problem. And then our final one opens up this social learning component where students will have access to their videos as well as the videos that are created by their classmates, so that they can see in that same Google Drive folder everything and kind of have an asynchronous conversation, which becomes pretty cool. And then our last setting is email notifications. Do you want us to send you an email every single time somebody creates a video or not? Sometimes you want to be notified and get excited when you got a video, and sometimes you just got too many dang emails and you need to turn that off. But that is up to you. And then the last thing that you'll see from us is something that says your assignment is live. This means it's time to party because that assignment can be shared with anyone. And you'll notice that there are a couple of things here. You have a copy link where you can copy and paste this into anywhere. So if you're not using Google Classroom because you're using Schoology, or you want to paste it into an email, or however the heck you want to communicate with the people who need this link, you can copy that and paste it. We also have a shared Google Classroom link. So this thing is a preview button, which will show you exactly what things look like for students. So what do students see when they actually access a Screencastify Submit link? And my answer is that they see only what you want them to see. One of my pet peeves is sending students to a link or a website, and then they go there and there are a bunch of ads and there are a bunch of things that are honestly distracting. And we have gotten rid of all of that. We never furnish ads to you or your students. We never put any sort of random things on the screen. All they will see when they get there is going to be that title that you created as well as the instructions, and they simply click to record. And then the assignment here will also tell students what to expect. So it's going to record your mic and webcam, no problem. So once a student submits a video, it will end up in your Google Drive with that student's name and that student's email address. So you will be able to see who has submitted what, and know what students might still need to go back and be a part of that classroom discussion. So how do you even use Screencastify Submit? There are already some ideas brewing in the comment section, but obviously this is game changing. There are so many different ways that you can use Screencastify Submit to be able to get videos, particularly from students, but also from anybody under the sun. So one of the things that I think is kind of cool about screen recording specifically is that it allows us to demonstrate learning, right? So especially when kids are creating digital artifacts, it is one thing to talk about it. It is another thing to be able to demonstrate it. So whether that is a presentation, so abandoning that traditional presentation style where kids might come up to the front of the room and the rest of the class might be disengaged, we can get rid of that if you'd like. We can create these virtual presentations that maybe are a replacement or maybe are in addition to what you would normally do. And these presentations can live forever. And that even allows students to be able to re-record until they give in their absolute best work. So there's a start over button within Screencastify Submit, which is like relatively small, but the idea of being able to give students their own control over what they submit and giving them the opportunity to re-record, to do something is actually a part of the editing process. That's what we want students to be able to do, to be able to do something, make adjustments, and then do it again. So that is pretty cool. Or if it's a student being able to give translations, if a student simply is reflecting on what has happened in class, where have they learned things? Where are they still a little bit behind? Where do they need your help? Some of my band and choral teachers that I've spoken to over the last few months, and even prior to COVID-19, were talking about how they just didn't have enough time to be able to hear students actually play their instruments, to hear students actually sing, which is probably the most important thing in a band and choral class. So being able to create these submit assignments where students could play and give them more time to be able to assess that is absolutely amazing. or even have students creating these sort of podcast-like presentations. And what I like to say is that if you can conceive it, your students can create it. So whatever you want kids to do, they can click and record, and that can be an actual demonstration of their learning. So I love to actually is as part of different PD presentations. One of the first will require you to use Screencastify Edit and Record. So again, if you are not on the slides presentation just yet, you can go to bit.ly/GEG Screencastify to join us. And what I have done is I have created a sample assignment so that we can kind of take a look at what it might mean to give student feedback. So when you click on that, it will ask you to make a copy of that assignment. And then once you are there, you should be able to record your feedback about how you think that Kevin can improve. And then if you'd like, we'd love for you to copy that shareable link and paste it into the comments so that we can see how other educators are providing those videos. So I'd love for you to kind of be a part of the challenge. I'll stop talking for about 2 or 3 minutes and allow you guys to kind of play around and use Screencastify Record and be able to share those things with each other in the comments. And then as a note, y'all, this is on slide 31. Thank you for sharing that in the comments there. And you actually would probably want to use Screencastify Record to be able to create a video. So if you have not had an opportunity to already install Screencastify Record and you scroll up in the Google Slides presentation, you'll be able to go ahead and install it. But you can always go to screencastify.com and press that blue button that says add to Chrome if you are not already a Screencastify Record user and owner. And then if you haven't had a chance to see Laura's comment, absolutely awesome. She said it was faster than being able to type all of that feedback, and she can embed the talking head on the assignment too. So that has been absolutely cool. It should feel a little bit more personal for your kids, right? That they get an opportunity to actually see you narrating their assignment. And one of the things that I always got, I was an English teacher, was that I would write things like run-on sentence or fix your grammar or things like that, that we all kind of default to, especially after we have graded 150 assignments in a row. And the kid would say, I don't even know what a run-on sentence is, right? But when we are kind of talking instead of typing, we have a tendency to be a little bit more descriptive and provide them the feedback that they would want because we're thinking out loud. And in reality, we think out loud when we grade papers anyway. It is just kind of giving that to video. So probably about another 30 seconds or so for folks who might still be creating their videos. And I'm so sorry if I have interrupted that. And then we're going to go on to challenge number 2, where we actually will use Screencastify Submit. All right. So let's come on back together. And if you did not have an opportunity to participate in the challenge, no worries. You will have access to that bit.ly link at any time. So if you want to go back and open Kevin's assignment, or even better, take a look at something that your students have turned in this last week, and do the same thing of providing them feedback, and see if it saves time for you. So if you take a look at it and you say, you know what, my students would absolutely enjoy this and this would push their learning, then it is definitely something that I would recommend trying. And then I also want to make sure that we have an opportunity to use Screencastify Submit. So one of the things that I love about using Screencastify Submit is that it is obviously an incredibly powerful instructional tool, but it can also be just as powerful at building real clear student culture. So I know that y'all are a tight-knit group and you guys meet as a GEG Colorado team. And I wonder what's something fun you'd like to learn about your colleagues in GEG Colorado. So what you can do is you can create a Screencastify Submit assignment at app.screencastify.com/submit. And it could be anything that you guys want. And then once you've got it, go ahead and share it in the chat. And maybe you'll actually get some videos back with your colleagues actually being able to answer that question that you had. So it can be a ridiculous question. It could be a question about instructional practices. But what's something you've always wondered about your colleagues in GEG Colorado? Go to app.screencastify.com/submit, create your own assignment. And in a little bit, you will see videos arrive in your Google Drive that are actually in response to your question. So throw those assignment links into the comments. And then we'll come back together at 10:40. So at 10:40, we will come back together. All right, let's come on back together. I have shared an assignment that I created over on the YouTube comments. So if you would like to participate and tell me exactly what has gone really well within virtual learning, I'd love to take a look at it. And actually what I'm going to do is I would love to just kind of show what's happening live here. So if you have an opportunity and you are taking a look at that submit assignment, I would love to see what you guys have. So I have created this assignment here and then 0 submissions, but I would love to have somebody help me out here. But what is actually happening is if we click on the 0 submissions within the Google Drive folder, this is where all assignments will actually live. So I'll see all activity as people submit videos, it will actually be here. And I actually have created this so that anyone with the link can view. So if you have signed in with your district email, you would be able to access, or if you have signed in with anything under the sun, you would be able to access and put things into this Google Drive folder. And I've also made it so that anyone can actually see videos that are created by other people. So I see that Chris has a quick question about Screencastify Submit. So she says, would you recommend using your district email? And how long is the purchase good for? So the first thing is that generally what we recommend is that whether you're using the free or paid version of our products, we love for you to use our district email, because whatever email address you use is going to be the Google Drive that we actually put those videos into. And that's true across all of our products: record, edit, and submit. So if you know that you want students to submit videos to your district email, because that's going to be where you are going to view those things, then definitely use that. If for some reason you're doing something personal, and you want those videos to arrive somewhere else, you definitely can do that as well. And then other than that, as far as how long the purchase is good for, that purchase is actually good for an entire year. So if you bought it today, it will be good for an entire calendar year as well. And then that actually gets me to the next thing that I wanted to talk about, which is actually the pricing model that we have at Screencastify. So as I said, everything is absolutely free. We do have free options that you guys can take a look at and be a part of, but did also want to provide opportunities for you guys to understand what you can get there, especially since there is a question about pricing. So one of the cool things about Screencastify is that for the Screencastify Record, you can record as many videos as you'd like. The only limit there is that videos individually need to be under 5 minutes. And there is actually a pretty strong pedagogical reason why we have done that. For a lot of things, 90% of what you need to do, in fact, recording shorter videos is perhaps even better, because that allows folks to be able to really capture attention and stay focused. As far as Screencastify Submit, you can create up to 1 active assignment at a time, completely free. And Screencastify Edit, similar to Screencastify Record, allows you to create videos or export videos, excuse me, up to 5 minutes completely free. We do have school and district licenses. I know that a lot of you guys might already be under a paid license because your district has done that, which is absolutely amazing. But yeah, there are tons of ways to access Screencastify, whether you are on one of our free accounts or on one of our paid accounts as well. So thank you for engaging with some of the things here and being a part of those challenges. I did also want to give a couple of minutes to talking about how you can learn more about Screencastify. The first being, please follow the Screencastify squad at Screencastify. We're always providing product updates and all types of things that you can do. And me at NiftyNeff. My email address is pretty simple to remember. It's neff@screencastify.com. And then we also have a classroom resources page that is hyperlinked right there. So we have certification courses. If you've enjoyed spending the last 45 minutes with me, you can spend another hour in a self-paced online course that will take you through how to use Screencastify. We also have a Genius course that is narrated by Alice Keeler that will talk about how you can use Screencastify along with the Google apps that you love. So if you're you're wondering, how do I embed a Screencastify video into a Google Slides presentation or anything under the sun in that vein, that Genius presentation will be there, as well as courses that are coming soon about Screencastify Submit and Screencastify Edit, are new products as well. You'll also see some information from inspirational educators, webinars that you can watch on demand, and so much more. And Becky's question really quickly. Yes, so she says the free version allows you to have unlimited 5-minute videos, no monthly limit. The answer is yes. So we used to have a monthly limit on the amount of videos that you could create. We have gotten rid of that based off of feedback from educators that you guys don't need a limit on the amount of videos that you create. We completely agree. Go crazy. Create 1,000 videos if you want. Create 1,000,000 videos if you want. There's absolutely no limit on the amount of videos that you can create with the free version of Screencastify Record, which is absolutely amazing. The other thing that I wanted to quickly preview, and of course, if there are other questions, like send them my way. But the other thing that I wanted to quickly preview before I turn it back over to the folks at GEG is that on the exit survey that they are going to talk about in just 1 second, there's a question there that asks if you'd like to stay in contact with Screencastify and get a follow-up. So what I usually love to do is to send a follow-up of all of the information that we have talked about, including the slides presentation, how you access Submit, what the heck Screencastify Record is. And that'll be a one-time communication that will come from me. So if you are interested in just kind of getting a recap of what we talked about, links to our certification courses, etc., please go ahead and check that box. And if you don't, no worries at all. But did want to give an opportunity for you guys to be able to stay in contact and learn a little bit more about Screencastify if you are intrigued about what is possible after our time together. So I am so excited that you guys have given me a little bit of your time on a Saturday morning. And so excited to talk about the Screencastify suite of video creation tools that are obviously awesome for the classroom and can be used in so many ways. And I will turn it back over to the GEG Colorado crew to give us our marching orders and next steps.
All right. Awesome. Neff, thank you so much. That was so helpful. I guess when I was playing with the Submit this week, I didn't realize like anyone can do it. And I could like send it because I'm the tech support. And I was like, oh my gosh, I can send it to people and be like, tell me what's wrong. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you. Let me just drop in for all of our folks. Some upcoming GEG events that we've got on the books. Oh, that looks rough. My daughter's having a meltdown over there. And so we've got 2 things on the books. We've got a couple more things in the works. But so next Saturday, we have yours truly. I'll be running a flipped classroom session. And then the couple weeks from then is going to be Google Classroom led by Miss Becky Shorey popping in. All about like Google Classroom 2.0 in a way. And so thanks everyone for joining us. Becky, will you tell us how to get our PD credit?
Yeah, sure. I'd love to. So we have in, let's see, let's show it right there. And can somebody drop it into the chat? We've got a Google form that you guys can fill out. And when you do that, you're going to get in your email account, whatever email that you give us, you're going to get a nice certificate that you can use for recertification, as it meets all the requirements for Colorado, at least for recertification. It's got signatures and all that good stuff. So keep that on file. We're going to start doing that for all of these events. So you can use it for recertification. Who doesn't want that? Recertification hours.
Yay. So yeah, that was great, Neff. Thank you so much. Anything else from Becky or Neff?
I don't think so. Thank you so much for having me. This has been absolutely awesome. I cannot wait until the world isn't on fire and I can come visit you guys in Colorado. But yeah, this has been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to continuing to engage with Colorado educators and get you guys using Screencastify if you are not already.
Yeah, I learned a lot. Like, thank you so much. I thought I was pretty good with Screencastify, but there was a lot of good tidbits in there.
Right. Thank you. All right. Well, that's going to do it for us. Thank you to everybody for joining us. And we hope to see you next week where we're going to talk about some flipped classroom supports. And I'm actually going to talk about Screencastify. So holler. All right. So yeah, thank you everybody and have a great day. Bye.
Bye.